Welcome, welcome, welcome to the very first Ti-Ahwaga Community Podcast. Today, we're sitting down with the cast of The Humans, and we'll be talking to them about the show, some themes. All right, I'd like each of you to go down the line and introduce yourself and what character you're playing.
My name is Joe Hoffman. I'm playing Eric Blake.
My name is Paula Bacorn. I am playing Momo.
My name is Lisa Waldrop, and I'm playing Deirdre Blake.
My name is Claire Grotto, and I'm playing Amy Blake.
My name is Alana Rose Wallenstein, and I am playing Bridget Blake.
My name is Eric Fernandez. I'm playing Richard.
Beautiful. Welcome, welcome. If we could go down and talk a little bit about how the character you just introduced relates to the others in this group.
Eric is the patriarch of the family. He loves his family very much. He is afraid of losing their love, and he's got a secret that he has to tell them, but he would rather not.
Well, Momo has dementia, so she really doesn't relate to anyone, although she wants to very much. She mostly verbalizes in what sounds like gibberish, but there are actual words in it, and they mean something to her. Now, she already has dementia, but I think her greatest fear is that no one's going to take care of her. Somewhere within her, she senses how vulnerable she is, but she can't even express that.
Deirdre is Eric's wife and the mother of Amy and Bridget. Deirdre is a woman whose faith is incredibly important to her, and I think is feeling a little bit upset that it isn't important to her children anymore. Deirdre wants the family to be together and to be happy together, but I think she wants them to be that way in her vision, not how they want to be happy. So she sort of interacts with the family in that way. She knows Eric's secret, but she's not telling.
Amy is the eldest daughter of Eric and Deirdre, and she has had a rough year. She has recently lost her job as a lawyer, which provides a lot of stability, and she really feels shaken in that stability realm because she is going to her sister's place with her new partner, and Amy just got out of a relationship that probably lasted about 20 years, and they would go to every family holiday together, and that person's not going to be there this time. So she's super isolated and also has to deal with a chronic illness. So everything's coming up roses for Amy.
Bridget is the younger daughter. She is hosting the family Thanksgiving for the first time. She's somebody who really wants to feel like an adult and is struggling to do so far. She has her wonderful partner, Richard, who is just like a sweet, solid rock throughout the whole thing. And thank God, because this family has its dysfunction. And I think Bridget really feels it hard. I think partially because she just really wants the Thanksgiving to go the way that she wants it to go and for everyone to get along. And partially because she's like uptight and anxious. And when people are uptight and anxious, they have a tendency to lash out a little bit, including to their wonderful, sweet partners. So yeah.
Rich is like Ilana said, Rich is Bridget's boyfriend, and he's never been around all these people at once during a holiday before, so it's kind of like an unfamiliar ecosystem. And so it's a lot of just like watching all these people bounce off of each other because I don't know like what their deal is when they're all together. You know, like what's their vibe?
Neither do they.
Yeah, right. Like, so I don't want to like insert myself. So it's like it's a very observer type position. He gets to like watch all their weird rituals.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm wondering if any of you had a prior relationship with the script or if you were going into this process completely blind.
I read it for the first time a couple years ago. A friend of mine lent it to me, and I thought it was just brilliant. I hadn't ever read anything that kind of smashed genres together quite the way this one does. I think it's very identifiable on a character level. I think everyone who watches this is going to see someone they know or see something of themselves in each of these characters. And to add the extra layer of the surreal on top of it, but still having the character motivations and emotions be very grounded, I thought was a really smart writing choice. So I was very excited to find out that Ti-Ahwaga was doing it.
I just knew that it was a dollhouse set in 2 stories. That's the only thing I knew. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I watched the film last year, probably last March, and I was just mesmerized by the realism that like you can capture so easily on film, and it's a lot more difficult and stylized to do on stage, which is definitely a challenge, but it's such a well-written script that like when you see a well-written script, it's like, oh, that's easy to act, or like it is a privilege and a joy for an actor to get to perform.
For those of you who weren't familiar, how did you feel at our very first read-through?
Well, I was a good actor and I read the script before the audition. But I think that I didn't quite, like when I first read it, what I took away from it was like, wow, this is a really brilliant way to portray PTSD. I just think it's this kind of slight horror genre, as you said. And I think like the idea that like everything is scary, even if it's just a neighbor upstairs, like bumping something when you are in a state of high triggered anxiety or fight or flight because of PTSD. So I was like, wow, to use that genre in that way is really powerful and cool. Otherwise, and then I heard it read out loud, and it was like this overlapping dialogue and this realism like you talk about, and this like really the funny way that everyone's delivering their lines. And suddenly I was like, oh, I get this play now. And I really, every rehearsal, feel like I get to know it more and more and get to know more of these characters and their backgrounds. And we find these really funny moments and these really devastating moments. And it's really a beautiful play. And I understand why it won the Tony Award.
Yeah. I had no idea what it was about. And so when we did our first read through, I was blown away by it. And I think the thing for me, I live in a family of people who never shut up. And so we're always talking over each other. And the way this play is written is brilliant because it does that. But in a way that I think the audience is going to be able to catch all that conversation and understand what each of us is saying and doing. And I love that it is, there's love underneath all of it, even underneath the horror or the PTSD, the fear. There's humor and there's anger. And it's just everything that a family experiences. So I think to Joe's point, people are going to be able to identify with, if not the people, many of the themes and all of the emotions if they're willing to identify with those. So.
We've spoken a little bit now about how this play dives into the horror genre and it focuses a lot on fear. I'm wondering what your characters fear the most and how that fear affects their daily life.
Oh, well, yeah, I think Amy has a lot of fear of being alone, especially with having a chronic illness. She sees some of her fate, I think, mirrored in her grandmother, Momo, and this sort of helplessness, especially after no longer being in a relationship that is definitely codependent and they rely on each other for everything. When that's gone, like, what does she have? And I think she has to learn how she can survive without that.
I think Bridget fears maybe never quite like getting her feet under herself. Like it's not just about being seen as an adult by her family, but I think like she fears that she won't ever be like capable. I think that's what it is, and that she won't be able to have the career that she wants. That I think her relationship is pretty good, but you know, there are just aspects of her life that she feels like very scared that they won't work out, and I think she also fears losing like the people she loves, similar to Eric. Not even in a like losing them completely way, but in a them changing and becoming people that she doesn't know anymore, which kind of happens as we get older with people that we have really close relationships with. But I think she's at the age where that's starting to become really prevalent. And I think everyone's going through such intense stuff right now that she's feeling that a little bit extra at this holiday.
And then you throw Momo into the mix, who can't really, as I said earlier, can't really relate with anyone. But I feel she wants to. From myself personally, maybe my biggest fear, period, is losing all my marbles. There's dementia in my family. I have friends my age now with it, late stages. It robs the person of their humanity. And for Momo, at the stage she's at, again, I touched on this, I think part of her senses, I think she does know who Eric is and can relate to him, her son. I think she sees Deirdre as this nice person. She doesn't really know who she is, but she's kind to her. The granddaughters she has completely forgotten. And it's hurtful for them because they loved Momo and she loved them too. But they can't access that anymore.
I think when I think of Deirdre's fears, I think Deirdre's biggest fear is not being right with her God, quite honestly. I think that's the thing that matters to her more than anything. And the people that she loves, she has this need for them to be right with God as well. Again, according to her, what I think is probably a pretty narrow view. I think that she fears the divide that is between herself and Eric, even though I think throughout the whole show, both of them are trying to figure out how to span that divide. And you'll have to come see it to see if they figure that out. And I think she fears for both of her daughters because she wants them to be happy and healthy. And it doesn't appear that they are that way on many different levels. So I just think she's a pretty tense human. See what I did there? Human.
Oh, with the jokes.
Well played.
I think Richard's afraid of complete societal collapse. I think he read The Road one time and it really messed him up.
You're going a little quasar on us, Eric.
You know, I think there's a thread that runs through all these fears that is uncertainty, right? Like, am I right with my family? Am I right with my God? What's going to happen to me? What does my mom actually think of me? What does my family think of me? You know, all these questions that you'd like to think you know the answers to, but you never can really know for certain. And I think there's a profound unease that comes with that realization that you just can't know things for sure. And you can have it over and over again, especially with something like PTSD or something, you know, like a serious debilitating illness? When is it going to strike again? How bad is it going to get?
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of questions are the things that can kind of haunt you, keep you up at night.
Now that we've gotten to know these characters a little bit, I would like to talk about where they feel they are most at home. Do these characters ever feel like they're at home? Where is that place? Or maybe is it a person?
Church. And volunteering for the less fortunate. That's where Deirdre feels like she feels the most solid. I think she does not feel that way anywhere else.
I think that feeling a sense of stability in this apartment especially is hard for a lot of these characters. They make remarks about how the apartment is very loud, it's falling apart, and it seems generally uncomfortable. So through the play...
Wow, that's my apartment.
Sorry, girl. The room talks for
Amy,
itself.
be nicer to your sister.
But I think, anything close to home Amy finds during the play is probably with Bridget. And they have kind of an age gap for sisters. They're about 8 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy's older. So I think she's really seeing her little sister sort of grown up and in her own place with this guy. And she seems like she's really finding that stability that Amy does not have at all. But, I mean, it's inspiring to see her, like, on her feet.
I think Bridget is working on feeling at home in this apartment. It's a new apartment, so it always takes a second. It's also the first apartment that her and Richard have shared together. So there's some parts of that feel exciting and new. And at the same time, it's like, maybe it doesn't quite feel like home yet. I think when I first read the script, I really felt like Bridget felt most at home with her dad, Eric. And as I've kind of gotten through it more and more, I think that she used to feel most at home with her dad. And this might even be like one of the events that makes her realize that that's not true anymore. And that she's actually now most at home with her boyfriend, Richard. And, you know, she has a sense of family with everyone else. But yeah, I'm going to finish every sentence with, but yeah, and that's going to be.
Momo is not feeling at home in this strange building and strange apartment with these people that are essentially strangers to her. She keeps saying things like, "Where do we go? And why am I here, son?" She wants to be back where she's familiar. And taking her out of that was like dipping her in boiling oil.
I think Eric used to feel most at home, particularly when the girls lived there. And there's been, you know, a lot of changes. The girls went to college, moved out, so him and Deirdre were empty nesters. And then Momo came to live with them when she got sick. And so now I think Eric is probably most at home at work. That's probably where things feel the most stable to him. He knows what he's doing. Things make sense. There's predictability.
I think home is where the heart is. And I think Richard is most at home with Bridget. I think he's genuinely very committed to her. And, you know, the apartment kind of sucks, but, you know, it's an apartment. And, you know, it'll get better. So
It has 2 floors.
2 floors.
In New York
stairs.
City?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's like with a person, you know, home with a person. So that'd be Bridget.
The optimist among us.
Yeah.
Amazing. One of the last points I want to touch on with you guys is the fact that there are a lot of dichotomies in this script. We've touched on a few of them. The fact that we are mixing comedy and drama, or comedy and horror. I'd love to know how towing that line affects you as an actor, and how does that mixing affect your character?
I think humor is a very big coping mechanism for Amy, and a lot of my friends who have chronic illnesses would agree. So she has a very deadpan sense of humor throughout the play, which is so much fun for me to get to experience. And then with the play as a whole, I've always thought that the best straight plays, they call them, are the ones that have you laughing in about like the first half, and then eventually the play gets so intense that you're realizing, oh, I haven't laughed in a while. The play's not funny anymore. Remember when the play was funny? And that's something that, to me, as an audience member, I latch onto, and I think that's going to stick with me. And this play does that a lot. So, and then, like, acting-wise, they say that what's that idiom? Is it an idiom? No. The best drama actors are the comic actors. And like vice versa, probably, because they have such an understanding of comedic rhythm and timing that like when the funny guy gets serious, stuff's going down.
I think it makes it like more true to life. Like, it's like life's not really funny or scary, but it's kind of both. So it's like it just feels like normal hanging around.
Yeah, no, I've always felt like I'm a pretty strong proponent of the idea that even in life's most devastating moments, there is humor.
Mm-hmm.
And there is hope, and there is all of the spectrum of human emotions. And so I think that like anytime a story kind of fits too strongly into one genre, it feels less real to me.
Mm-hmm.
But this one really, I think, captures all of that. And then what you're saying about like the tension of comedy, I've been having a really fun time, like thinking about horror as the exact. People talk about it being the exact same kind of beats and tension that is created with horror and with comedy and with drama. Turns out tension is really important for acting and storytelling. But yeah.
But yeah, come on, you didn't do it right.
But yeah.
I like their answers, so I'm good.
I think from a character standpoint, for Eric, he has this heaviness to him. And it makes those moments when he can find humor a lot more meaningful. They stand out a lot more. And I think we've all had that where something's on our mind, we're carrying something heavy with us and a friend makes us laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Or we get into a situation where we can forget about it for a second and just kind of be ourselves and vibe. I really like the way that this play like singles those moments out. And it's just so well written as an actor. You don't have to think too much about it. You just play the intent and it comes through.
Yeah.
Trust your script. I love that. Any final thoughts on your general experience with this script or finding your character, what that process was like?
Well, so one of the very early rehearsals, when there's a point at which I, as Deirdre, am upset about something, but one of my children is even more upset about that thing. And so that child is in my arms and I'm trying to console her. And I happen to be the mother of 2 girls. So I've been in a situation where I've had a sobbing child in my arms. And I remember saying to Kylie, oh God, I don't know how I'm going to do this, because I truly felt, I don't know if you remember that, but I truly felt like, oh my Lord, I can't do this every day. And so Kylie had us do the next rehearsal, I think it was, she had us do this exercise where we built our character in our minds from clay and building Deirdre and then stepping into her and then stepping out of her and watching her walk away. Although if you remember, she wouldn't leave.
Typical Deirdre.
She finally did. She finally went. That was huge for me in order to be able to be her when I'm here and to leave her here when I go home. So that was the most spectacular exercise I've ever done for that kind of thing. It really was. I don't know. Did that answer the question?
That was the question.
Oh, that was the question.
Yeah, general experience, final thoughts on discovering your characters.
Well, I think I'm inhabiting Momo too much because the other night after rehearsal, I completely went by my exit. Didn't realize it. And even when I took the next exit, I was confused about where I was and how I got there. So,
Method acting.
yeah, yes.
If that's the
do
case,
that
then
too.
I've got some mobile.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
We could have a Momo meter to see how much each of us has Momo inside of us.
Having a Momo moment. Mo moment.
A
That's great.
moment.
Yes.
Market that, Ti-Ahwaga.
Yeah.
Don't actually.
All right. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of like overlapping dialogue, so it was fun. There's like a lot of timing stuff that you like sharpen up, so that was cool. And then, yeah, there's a bunch of freaks, man.
Excuse me.
Speak for yourself.
No, it's been fun because it's a show where we're all on stage all the time.
Yeah.
So in other shows, you have moments where two actors are doing something and you're getting to know each other off stage. But we've just been like running this, and at first I was like, we're never gonna bond. But like I think we've gotten to know each other through the characters on stage, and of course a little bit off stage as well. But it's like you get to know a lot about someone just through the choices they make and the way that they see their character. And I feel like we have bonded and we're a cute little family now.
Yeah.
So come see us.
Not looking forward to the post-show letdown.
Oh, don't think about
It won't
that.
even. There will be no.
That's a future Lisa,
Friends for life.
future Deirdre problem, not a now Deirdre problem.
Have faith, Deirdre.
All right, you freaks. Let's wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for sitting down and chatting with me. This has been the very first Ti-Ahwaga Community Podcast.
Yay.
Have a great night, everybody. Woo.
Bye.